Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental relationship reading for the elemental energy of air. Air covers the zodiac signs of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So if you are Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or have air high up in your charts, then this message is for you. And there is a link to a natal chart in the description if you've never had those done. They're pretty interesting when you get to see it, and there's a little section in the one linked that talks about your elemental alignment, so it's pretty cool. How I like to do the relationship readings is we look at the energy for the singles first, and then we look at the energy for the couples. In each set, we figure out which chakra is lighting up and what lesson can be learned from that, and then we look at a little more clarification from the tarot. So for our air singles, we are in number 38, which is the card of unity. I think this is going to be the throat chakra, but we'll find out when I look in the book here in a second. And I do use the book on these cards in particular because there's so much more information there. With this energy, though, to start with, air singles, this is a time to really unite the various aspects of yourself. There's this higher self, lower self thing that you've been working on, and now it's time to call some of that together. There's also the balance of the masculine and feminine within each one of us, and this is allowing you to understand how that balance works. So air singles, with this unity energy, it's saying when you understand more about yourself, it allows you to actually be more of yourself when you're out in public. You don't have to put on the facade to attract a mate. You don't have to what's the term, put the peacock on or carry on, whatever that is in the modern slang. But you don't have to do that anymore because you are well beyond that energy, is what I'm getting. So you're able to stand in an area of truth that is a little bit beyond what the average person who's, understanding and ready to go out and look, because you've already been there, done that. You don't have to answer all these fill-in-the-blank questions because you know who you are. And that changes the dynamic just a little bit here. Ooh, I was wrong. We are in our third eye energy here, or air singles. The deity on the card is, Ardhanashvar. I'm not good with some of these names. In front of the sacred Mount Kailash, this is half Shiva, male and solar, half Shakti, female lunar. This deity stands in divine unity, being as one. The perfect balance of opposites dissolving duality. The trident symbolizes the three aspects of life: birth with creation, life with preservation, and death and rebirth. The lotus represents the purity of mind and the beauty of the unity of existence. So, and on here we do have your trident is over here, and on the other hand is a lotus floating above the hand. So this is really calling into that balance of the war and peace. It's the light and dark. This is that interplay of energy. And that's where you coming together, knowing your aspects of yourself, changes the dynamic of how you show up when you're out in the world, air singles. Your keywords are unity, wholeness, balance, integration. Develop your ability to see with your third eye, being your authentic self, trust, and making right decisions. Air singles. This is the energy I'm getting is very mature, very astute. You're not going to be frivolous with your emotions. You're not going to be frivolous with your time. You know what's going on in your life. You know how things are playing out, which the energy I'm seeing here is good and bad, because once you know that, you're not going to play games. You're not really into the dating scene anymore, which is fine. But it's also this energy of you might miss something if you don't bring forward the more playful side. That's part of the balance, being serious, but also knowing how to, goof around when you need to. And the energy that's coming forward right now with this Unity card is when you step into that balanced state, when you really start to understand what it means to be in harmony with yourself. And you'll get this. It's not like something I'm gonna have to explain to you or anyone else is gonna explain. You're going to have an aha moment, and it's gonna be like, oh, that's what that means. It's gonna click like that little light bulb in the cartoons. And when it does, it's just gonna fall into place, and you're gonna almost laugh at yourself. Like, I was struggling to understand that, and that's all it was fill in the blank, because everyone's gonna have a different response. But the unity of the heart, the mind, the light and the dark, your higher self and your shadow, when those things start to come into balance, basically you're working alchemy, the union of opposites, you change and you show up differently, because you're standing in a place of truth, and your trust in the divine at that point is so strong that you can still be be a bit more serious, more analytical, but you can see how that other person might just be interesting to you. They might be a complete enigma, but that also is your curiosity, because then you get to know them better, because that's not the same person as you are. But knowing who you are means that you can stand over here and you can have fun interacting and getting to know this person, but you're not going to lose yourself in the process, because that is an energy that's coming up. Is in the past you've had those moments where you've lost yourself in the relationship. Now you're single and you're strong, and that's one of the pauses that you're like, am I ready for this? If you are, great. If you're not, that's fine too. But the universe is saying you've done so much of the inner work and you've come so far that you actually are in a way better spot than you were before. So your message from the tarot first card is the Four of Earth. This is that challenge energy that's coming up. Being too frivolous or too cautious with money or time or emotions, good business decisions, giving to those less fortunate. You really want to pay attention that you're not sympathy dating. You don't want to date just because, oh, that person, they just can't seem to take it. Don't do that. If you're not in it for the right reasons, just don't do that. But when I say the right reasons, is there an emotional connection? Is there a mental connection? Especially for our air family here, you want to be out and looking around for someone who stimulates your curiosity, that stimulates your mind. If that person that you're kind of starting to get to know, if you're single and you're looking, and they're kind of this is not rude to the other person, if they're not stimulating you or almost boring in that respect, maybe that's not the right person to connect with, because you're aware of your needs, wants, and desires, and also aware of what you bring to the table. And if the other person is not in that same communication level, then that's just means the dynamic's not there. But you already are aware of this, air, so it's not like this is anything new to you. Your second card is the Ten of Air, the end of a difficult situation, embracing the challenges, expecting things to get better, recovering from an addiction. And the addiction could be to some past issue or situation. It doesn't have to be like something super in the moment negative. It could be just that you are kind of focusing on things from the past, and this card is saying you don't need to do that anymore. That the problem times for your life, especially romantic life, are in the past, and now you get to move forward. But air singles, you are the one who gets to pick how this plays out. And that doesn't mean you have to be super picky or I have this list of 50 billion things. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to the universe, because they're going to look at you and be like, no. So when you start to look for that partner, because you're aware of yourself, you want to look at character traits. You want to look at things that are valuable to you as a relationship. And air, you love to communicate, you like your mind working, so you're looking for things along those lines. So what if they're perfectly in shape? Those things are very malleable. Those might come and go as the days progress, one way or another. But when you're stepping up and you're saying, I really want a relationship, I want to do it the more correct way this time, that means that you're saying to the universe, I'm willing to look inside and see what is going to work the best for me and with me, and what am I bringing to offer to the other person? How am I fitting into this dynamic as well? Because it's not just on the other person. You have a role to play too. So you have a pretty interesting month ahead is what I'm hearing, air singles. So have some fun with that. Explore a little bit. The one thing they keep bringing up, though, is You've done the inner work, so you know more about yourself than what you thought you did. That's opening the door so that you can actually see what the other person is offering as well. So pretty cool energy for our air singles. Air couples, before we do that, like, comment, and subscribe. If you are feeling a different vibe from the cards, or you're seeing something a little different in the images, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. I read intuitively, so it's always fun to hear what other people see in the cards, because we all are here to learn, to grow, and to understand at a deeper level. So feel free to let me know in the comments. With that, you air couples, and this could be you're the air, your partner's the air, air could be high up in the charts. We are looking at number 19 with right action, and I'm pretty sure this is solar plexus. With this energy, you're really stepping into this pattern of you don't really have to think about what's right for the relationship anymore. You've been together, or you have bonded in a way that the question of, well, is this the right thing to do? Is my partner going to be okay with this? You don't really have to ask that anymore because you guys are connected that deeply. It's always good to check in, but you are more aware of what the other person is looking at, and you can connect in that way. And there's also this energy of, even if it's something that might be a little uncomfortable, you do know the right course of action going forward. And they're showing me this is financial as well as with the minions down the road within the relationship. But it's really saying you already know what you're supposed to be doing. So nothing like is super shocking to you when it comes to how things are playing out, because you're like, I kind of already figured this was going to happen type energy. But the entertaining part they're showing me is you both are having that same response to things. So it's not, well, that person, my partner, saying that. You both are kind of like, we knew this was going to happen. So that's why we're choosing this higher path, this, as I Ching would say, the righteous path of morals and ethics and our core values. Because then you can look at any of these situations that might be popping up outside of the relationship, kind of like, no, I'm good. You keep that over there. I don't need your drama. Because you guys have a good connection, here's what I'm hearing. The energy, or the deities on the card, is the Gayatri Ma. This goddess is the physical form of Gayatri mantra that bears her name and dates back to the Rig Veda. She symbolizes the feminine powers of strength, compassion, kindness, healing, knowledge, and purity. She is said to preside over Homa, which is the sacred fire, and to have given the 4 Vedas to humanity. There's a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge coming in here with these 3 goddess, triple-faced goddess. Our keywords are truth, purity, activating your will, capital W, being real, harnessing your sense of negativity and shadow, acceptance, dharma, acting according to duty. When we talk about duty in a relationship, it's the balance of power within the relationship. No one person, and I have watched this with a lot of different relationships, no one person is the biggest vocal. There is this balance that comes in with the masculine being a bit more projective and the feminine being a bit more nurturing. So that is a dynamic balance. But the energy that's coming in here is no one person dictates the whole thing. And the minute that one party says, I'm the person, I say this is how it is, you've just lost the battle. And that's the energy that's coming up here. And that's that knowledge base. Air couples, you guys are willing to listen, you're willing to grow, you're willing to understand the other person. And with this particular energy coming in, it's saying your ego is what's being kind of burnt up in their sacred fire. So you want to make sure that your ego is kept off to the side or in check, because when that thing gets out of control, nothing good comes from that. But there's oops, I'm about to throw this card. That's funny. So these two hopped out on their own. We'll look at them right now. The energy that's kind of showing up here is really about connecting with each other, keeping God's source, however you see the divine, active in the relationship, because you've already been so far, you've already dealt with things in the past. That's what's led you to this positive state you're in. And with the solar plexus chakra, this is a power state. Like, you guys you're rocking and rolling, you know where you're headed, and you know what you want in life, so you don't have to worry about what other people are thinking. And that's the other beautiful part of this energy. But they're really saying you're in a partnership. No one person is above the other in this situation. And that's the dynamic that comes in because you work with each other. So the situation's resolved pretty quickly. The cards that literally fell out of the deck as I was shuffling, and I usually only pull 2 tarot, but these 2 came out together, so we'll go with that, is the Six of Water, which says memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children romanticizing the past, some of that past energy that needs to be sorted. Queen of Fire is your second one. Water and fire. Oh, okay. Confidence, warm, intelligent, graceful. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Asserting your independence and creativity. These 2 came out together. I've got one more to read, but these 2 came out together. And the vibe is, this is the balance of energies. Knowing the future, knowing what you're dealing with, that you've already overcome these guys. Because your past is where those questions have popped up. Those things that you're not sure of. The things that are kind of... When you guys were single, those things rattled your cages. They caused some chaos. And now that you have found each other, that's where the Queen of Fire comes in. So you've transformed from not knowing if you'll ever meet somebody, is one of the phrases I'm hearing, and being a little bit confused, like everyone else is married and having kids, why aren't I? But you've moved into the Queen of Fire energy where you've got this bond, you've got this beautiful relationship, and you don't need to worry about that past. So that's something that you can actually like let go and bask in the strength that you have. You've got knowledge. You know what's going on now with each other. You also see what's happening outside, so you're like very selective about who you interact with and how you interact. So that's actually pretty positive. Your second, your third card, but it's your second set, is the Nine of Air. Expecting the worst, self-fulfilling prophecies, and sleepless nights. When you step into the right action, this one here, when we step into that energy, air, that negates this. This is saying when you start to veer off the path, you're going to notice, your sleep's going to be the first thing that tells you that things are not where they should be. And it's not about expecting the worst, like the card says. It's more of being forewarned that this is, as long as you're staying together on the right act, taking right actions, you've got that bond, you've got that very strong Queen of Fire coming in, where stretching your wings and fly, you're not underestimating yourself, things are going really well, and you're connecting with each other. They keep emphasizing that. When that happens, you bypass all the rest of it. The Nine of Air is saying, just a heads up, if things don't happen to be lining up right now, time to check in, time to double check what's going on, because there's maybe a little bit of an imbalance there. But when you have, I just completely lost the name of this deity, sorry. The Gayatri Ma energy from the solar plexus chakra, she also is here to help burn away the doubt, the frustration. So if there's anything that's going on that's not where it needs to be, or you're feeling a little bit lost, this is where you get to reach out to God, Source, Divine, however you see the divinity, and just be like, I need some clarity here. There's some things that are just not making sense. Don't doubt the relationship. That's not what we're saying. It's really wanting to bring forward this emphasis on connecting with God's Source, keeping that in your relationship, and staying on those right paths, that right action. And notice how much different December goes. You've overcome a lot, air couples. That's why you're here in this moment. That's why you have energy like the Queen of Fire coming forward, because she has overcome challenges. She has overcome the doubt from the past. She found her King of Fire, and they are bonded now. They're building the family. They're doing all the things. That's air right now. This is your air couples. You've already overcome it all. You've already dealt with everything. And now you just get to you get to see where things go. You get to drive the truck, so to speak. So you get to make those decisions. And when you make the right action together, it's amazing how much the universe opens up for you when that happens. So I hope you guys have a great month of December. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts were on the cards or any of the random babbling that came out of my mouth. With that, I'll let you guys go. Have a great month of December, and I'll see you in the next video.